This is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. And the intention of these podcasts is to support and empower you to question reality, question who you are, question the validity of what we consider to be real world, and at the same time hold a truth, a higher truth, that there's something greater than ourselves or greater sense of self that's greater than what we experience in this body. There's a lot of, in this work of spiritual immersion, sometimes they call it the dark night of the soul. And my whole intention in doing this work with myself and with other people is to keep it as light as possible, light work, light night of the soul, as you would, as opposed to not dark night of the soul. It can be very deep and dark work, and we call it dark because we go to places that are unexplored. There are elements of you that you have yet to explore because you're kind of scared. You think you're the only one doing that, and you think that you're alone in this process. And that's one of the intentions of doing these podcasts, is to say you're not alone. Like, every single human being is here on this spiritual journey through this human experience. Every single one of us. And even though they look like they're not doing much, they're actually in a process much like yourself. And they're either tippy-toeing around the issues, skirting the issues, ignoring the issues, or beginning to explore. I mentioned a client of mine, I'll call him Matthew. I changed names to keep people confidential. But Matthew's been tiptoeing around his spiritual work for a very long time. He's done some meditations and different kinds of work that he anticipated or expected would bring him the outcome that he wanted in terms of his spiritual path. But it didn't turn out that way, and he ended up taking a deep plunge into what has been a very dark night of the soul, because it was so unexpected, and he felt like such a failure in life and so defeated and disempowered. And that's a lot of times where we go in this work, because in truth, as human beings, we have experienced through past lives or parallel lives or ancestral traumas, times where we have been defeated and disempowered and oppressed. And it feels pretty yucky. It feels really, really yucky. And so we kind of put a bubble around it, a bubble of armor that protects us from ever feeling that again. But when we don't let ourselves feel that, then we can't heal it. You got to feel it to heal it. So part of this work in spiritual immersion is that we're questioning reality. We're questioning what has been real in your life, in my life, forever, without even questioning. So, for instance, the other day, this has been going on for a long time, but more so because I started a meditation process, Joe Dispenza's meditation called You Are the Placebo meditation. And he asks the question, what is it you don't want to feel anymore? What is it you don't want to believe anymore about yourself? What is it you don't want to perceive anymore about yourself? And you've heard me say this before, but the questioning is so important, to say, wait a second, I don't want to feel that anymore. I don't want to believe that anymore. It doesn't feel right to believe that. And so when we start to question reality, we start to question, wait a minute, do I really have to feel this? And do I have to really believe that I'm unlovable for the rest of my life? Do I really have to keep playing those stories over and over, those tapes over and over, to remind me of the past when I was treated in a certain way, and the way that I was treated had me decide that I was unlovable or undeserving or unvaluable? Do I need to keep those stories around? And that's the point of this meditation process, is he's saying, what is it you don't want to believe about yourself anymore? which is an incredibly wonderful question, because you go, I don't want to believe that about myself anymore. Okay. So what do you want to believe about yourself? And you begin to question, wow, I've been living as if that is true my whole life. And I believe in the work that I've done with clients as a transformational coach and spiritual integration coach, it's like, I know that you are questioning, have those questions inside of you, and have the ability to go, wait a second, is that really true about me, that I am unlovable? Or can I let go of that belief and start creating a reality that says, life is good, my life is great, and I am lovable and expansive, and I have all the potential in the world and prosperity, and all I have to do is decide that I am going to receive and be grateful that I have the opportunity to receive the bounty of what is mine. Now, everybody goes, and for me, it took me a long time to be able to go, yeah, without rolling my eyes. Like, that's true for other people, but not for me. And again, this is that place where we begin to question over and over again. If it's true for other people, why isn't it true for me? Why don't I let it be true for me? Why don't I accept it as me too, of course? As many of you have heard, if you've been listening to these podcasts, I've been dealing with cancer, skin cancer. And people have been healing themselves of cancer for quite a long time. They're healing themselves without chemotherapy, without radiation or surgery. Now, if they can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. There is no reason why, except that I'm saying to myself, well, I've never been able to, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I can then go, wait, is that a belief you want to maintain? Is that a belief you want to keep around? Is that working for you to think that way? If I want to cure my cancer, if I want to be cancer-free or stress-free is caused, cancers and all chronic illnesses are caused by stress. They're stress-related illnesses. 99% of what shows up in a doctor's office is stress-related. Yep. It's a statistic. And so it's like, okay, I don't want to feel this stress. Can I feel rested? Can I feel in a state of restfulness and tranquility and equanimity and serenity? Can I actually be there? And the answer is yes. And what do I have to let go of? So all of these questions are just questioning the reality that I've created, question the reality you're creating, so that you can have the reality you want versus the reality that is currently present to you. So it's very exciting work and the other element of this is so important. I talk about empowerment. My whole vision statement. If you go to my website, theparadigmshifts.com, I talk about self-empowerment all the time. I wrote a book called Self-Empowerment 101. But this is where we have to really empower ourselves to move into that training of ourselves from letting our mind have those thoughts about ourselves, repeating the stories over and over and over of how we were cheated on, or how we were betrayed, or how we were abandoned, or how we were devalued, oppressed. We can keep playing those stories over and over, but they don't serve anything except to remind you of what you're no longer. You are no longer that. That was something that happened in the past. And so we have to empower ourselves, like truly, creating the momentum to build your life the way you want it, not just the way that it has been presented to you. And then you go, oh, that's the life I have. We have the capacity to empower ourselves to extraordinary levels. And that's what I've been practicing. That's what I support and empower my clients to do for themselves, to practice. And through these podcasts, my intention is to support and inspire you to question your own self and your capacity to make a difference for yourself. My book, Self-Empowerment 101, is really useful. Bruce Lipton's book, Biology of Belief, is very useful. Joe Dispenza's book, You Are the Placebo, is a really great book. And those are books that can help you look at the statistics and the research and the viability of the information so that you can go, of course, that makes perfect sense. If I change the way I think and believe, I'm going to change my biology, and I'm going to be healthier and wealthier if you want to be. Whatever it is you want, you can create that. So again, this spiritual immersion work is really about questioning reality and choosing which reality is the one you're going to live in. And I'll talk more about this in the next podcast in terms of how do you make that shift. All right, that's it for now. Big hugs. Bye for now.